Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We all want to understand what's really going on out there, especially with AI changing so fast, right? And that's exactly what we're doing today. Taking a look at a pretty big announcement that just dropped from NVIDIA.
Yeah, definitely big.
So NVIDIA just released this whole new family of AI models that are specifically designed for better reasoning. And, we're going to try to break this down.
And we've got NVIDIA's official news release right here, which that's what we're diving into today, right? To figure out, like, what are these models, why should we care, and how is this going to affect you if you are developing or using these AI agents in a business?
Yeah, especially in a business context, because this is the kind of AI that could really change how companies work. Right, so first things first, Llama Nemotron, what even is that? It sounds like some kind of I don't know, like a transformer or something from a movie.
Right.
But what do we actually talk about here?
It's actually an upgrade to the Llama models, which have already been making waves in the AI world.
Okay, so you're saying NVIDIA took those Llama models and I guess supercharged them for reasoning. How do they even do that?
That's where this idea of post-training comes in. It's basically like they sent these models back to school, but this time they're focused on some really specialized high-level stuff. Like let's get really good at multi-step math, for example.
Oh, so like when you have to solve an equation, but it takes like multiple steps to get there.
Exactly. These models can handle that way better now.
Okay, and I see they also mentioned improvements in coding. What, like writing code?
Yeah, understanding code, generating code, and they're even getting better at debugging, which is a huge help to any programmer out there.
No kidding. But, at the core of this is reasoning, right? That's kind of the big focus here.
Absolutely. And these models can now draw more sophisticated conclusions. They can make connections between different pieces of information.
Okay, so you're telling me they're basically like Sherlock Holmes, but in AL form?
In a way, yeah. They're able to analyze data and make more informed judgments, and that leads to better decisions, especially in complex scenarios.
Gotcha. So this isn't just like a chatbot that can answer your question about the weather. We're talking about like a higher level of intelligence.
Exactly. And that's why NVIDIA is calling these business-ready tools. They're meant for building what we call agentic AI platforms.
All right, now you're throwing around a bunch of fancy terms. Break that down for me. Agentic AI platforms. What's that all about?
Think of it this way. You build these AI agents, right? And these are bits of software that can operate with some level of independence.
Like little AI workers, basically.
Sort of, yeah. They can tackle different tasks and even work together as a team sometimes.
Okay, interesting. So we've got these AI agents, and then we've got these Llama Nemotron models, which what act as their brains.
You got it.
Okay, all right. But what makes them better brains than what we had before? Like, what are the actual concrete improvements?
Well, first up is accuracy, and this is a big one. NVIDIA is saying these models are up to 20% more accurate than the base Llama models.
Wow, 20%. That sounds like a pretty significant jump, especially when we talk about, complex reasoning tasks.
Absolutely, you're going to get more reliable results, fewer errors, and you can really trust these agents to handle more sophisticated tasks.
All right, accuracy check. What else we got?
Speed, specifically inference speed.
Inference speed. All right, let's unpack that.
So inference is basically when the AI is actually using what it learned, right? It's making predictions, making decisions based on new data.
Okay.
And with these new models, inference can happen up to 5 times faster compared to other leading open reasoning models out there.
5 times faster. And why does that matter so much?
Well, for one, it means these agents can react much quicker. So if you're using them for something like real-time customer support or maybe fraud detection, that speed is critical.
Makes sense. And probably saves a lot of money too, right? If they can do the same amount of work in less time.
Yeah, exactly. Faster processing means lower operational costs. You're using less computing power, less energy. So for businesses, that's a really big deal, especially if you're deploying these agents on a large scale.
Gotcha. So more accuracy, faster speed. Sounds pretty good so far. But how do we actually get our hands on these models? Like, how do developers and companies actually use them?
Well, that's where these NVIDIA NIM microservices come into play. It's essentially a way to package these complex AI models.
Like putting them in a little container to make them easier to work with?
Kind of, yeah. So you can deploy and use them in different software environments without too much hassle. And NVIDIA is offering 3 different sizes of these NIM microservices.
3 sizes, like small, medium, large for AI.
Exactly. And each one is designed for a specific kind of application or infrastructure.
Okay, so give us the rundown. What are the options?
So first up, you got the Nano model. This one is all about super high accuracy, but it's made to run on everyday PCs and edge devices. So think like smart sensors, on-site processing units, that kind of thing.
So for more localized, smaller scale deployments, Nano is the way to go.
Right. And then there's the super model. This one kind of hits the sweet spot between accuracy and processing power, which is also called throughput.
Throughput. That's
And this one is designed to run on a single NVIDIA GPU.
NVIDIA GPU, so that's like their fancy graphics hardware, right?
Yep. And then lastly, we got the Ultra model. This is the big one, maximum accuracy, and it's made for those really complex agentic AI platforms.
Sounds powerful.
It is. And this one is designed to run on servers with multiple GPUs to handle all the heavy lifting.
Okay, so there's a version for pretty much every need, whether you're just experimenting on your laptop or running a massive data center. Now, I'm curious about the development process here. How did NVIDIA even create these enhanced reasoning capabilities? Like, what was their secret sauce?
Well, a lot of it comes down to intensive post-training, and they did this using NVIDIA's own DGX cloud, which is like, you can think of it as a cloud computing environment built specifically for AI. And get this, a big part of their training involved using synthetic data.
Synthetic data, so like data that's not real.
It is data, but it's created artificially, and in this case, they used NVIDIA's Nemotron models and some other open source models to generate this data.
Whoa, so they're using AI to generate data to train even more advanced AI. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's like this AI inception thing going on, and it's specifically designed to improve those reasoning skills we were talking about.
That's fascinating. But did they use any real data in the process?
Yes, they did. So they also used additional curated data sets, real-world information. They kind of mixed the synthetic data with real data to get the best results. And here's the really cool part. NVIDIA said they're going to make all the tools and data sets they used and all the optimization techniques, they're going to make it openly available.
Openly available, wow. Why is that so important?
Well, it basically means that other companies can take what NVIDIA has done and build their own custom models, tailored to their specific industry needs and use their own unique data. It really opens things up and makes this technology more accessible.
That's a huge deal. It could really accelerate innovation in the AI field.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, speaking of innovation, the press release mentioned some pretty big names in the industry that are already working with NVIDIA on this. Who are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's an impressive list. You got Accenture, Amdocs, Atlassian, Box, Cadence, CrowdStrike, Deloitte, IQVIA, Microsoft, SAP, and ServiceNow.
Wow, that's a lot. And they all see the potential of this technology, obviously. But let's get specific. How are these companies actually using these models? Like, what kind of applications are we talking about?
Well, Microsoft, for example, they're integrating these models and the NIM microservices into their Azure AI Foundry. So that means customers can use them to enhance things like the Azure AI Agent Service for Microsoft 365.
Microsoft 365, so like all those tools we use every day for work, Word, Excel, all that.
Exactly. So they're basically using these models to make those AI-powered tools even smarter.
Okay, what about a company like SAP? What are they doing with this technology?
SAP is looking to use Llama Nemotron to improve their existing SA Business AI solutions and their AI copilot called Joule.
Joule, okay.
They're also using NVIDIA's NIM and NeMo microservices to boost the accuracy of code completion for their SAP ABAP programming language.
Okay, I'm not familiar with ABAP, but I assume it's a programming language.
Yeah, it's their main one.
Gotcha.
And Walter Sun, the global head of AI at SAP, actually said their goal is to make their AI agents more intuitive, more accurate, and more cost-effective. So basically making AI work better for businesses.
That makes sense. What about some of those other companies on the list? Any other interesting examples?
Yeah, definitely. So ServiceNow, they're focusing on building AI agents with greater performance and accuracy, specifically to improve productivity in different industries. And Accenture, they've already made these models available on their AI refinery platform, even with some new industry-specific agent solutions.
So they're really pushing to make this technology easily accessible for their clients.
Exactly. They want to make it easy for businesses to build and deploy custom AI agents that fit their specific needs.
Okay, and what about Deloitte?
Deloitte is planning to incorporate these models into their Zora AI platform, which is a new agentic AI platform.
Agentic AI, there's that term again.
Right, and their goal is to create agents that can help with or even emulate human-like decision-making. And they want to do it with, deep industry-specific knowledge and transparency.
Transparency, that's a big one too, right? Like, we need to understand how these AIs are making decisions. Okay, so it sounds like we're seeing this kind of like shift towards a new generation of intelligent business applications, and NVIDIA is obviously playing a big role in that. Now, they also mentioned this NVIDIA AI enterprise platform. What is that exactly, and how does it tie into all of this?
So NVIDIA AI Enterprise is their software platform. You can think of it as the foundation for developing and deploying AI at scale. It's got all sorts of tools and frameworks, and it's basically the ecosystem where all these Llama Nemotron models and agentic AI capabilities live.
Okay, so it's like the operating system for all this new AI, kind of.
In a way, yeah.
All right, and the press release highlighted some specific components within NVIDIA AI Enterprise that are particularly relevant here. Can you walk us through those?
Yeah, so one of the key pieces is the NVIDIA AIQ blueprint. Think of this as the framework that connects your knowledge, your data, to these AI agents.
Okay, so it's like giving the AI agents the information they need to do their jobs effectively.
Exactly, and it uses this NVIDIA NeMo retriever to find the most relevant information from different data sources. And then there's also the NVIDIA Agent IQ toolkit, which helps with things like making sure the agents behave properly and that their decisions are transparent.
Okay, so not just making the AI smart, but also making it understandable.
Precisely. And then there's the NVIDIA AI data platform, which is kind of like a blueprint for building the infrastructure you need to run these AI query agents. And of course, we've got those NIM microservices, which we talked about earlier, packaging up the Llama Nemotron models, making them easy to deploy and use.
All right, so a whole bunch of different tools and platforms working together to make this whole thing, actually work. Now, we talked about continuous learning being really important for AI. How does NVIDIA address that?
Yeah, so that's where the NVIDIA NeMo microservices come in.
Different from NIA, right?
Yeah, so NeMo is all about setting up this data flywheel. So basically, the AI agent does its thing, it gathers new information, and then that information is fed back into the system to retrain the models.
So it's like a continuous loop of learning and improvement.
Exactly. And NVIDIA even has this blueprint for building a data flywheel using their NeMo microservices.
So they're really giving you everything you need to not just build these agents, but also keep them learning and getting better. Now, for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, this is all great, but how can I actually try this out? What are the availability details?
So the Nano and Supermodels, along with their NIM microservices, they're available right now as a hosted API on build.nvidia.com and Hugging Face.
Hugging Face, that's like the big AI model hub, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're part of the NVIDIA developer program, you can access them for free. You can test them out, experiment with them, do some research.
Free is always good. What about for companies that are ready to use this in their real-world applications?
So enterprises can run those NeMo microservices using NVIDIA AI Enterprise. It works on their existing data center and cloud infrastructure.
Gotcha. And what about those Nemo microservices for the data flywheel? When are those coming out?
Those will be publicly available later on.
Okay, so keep an eye out for that. And what about those other tools and frameworks like AIQ and Agent IQ? When will those be available?
The AIQ blueprint is coming out in April. And the Agent IQ toolkit, that one's actually already available on GitHub. So if you're a developer who likes to tinker, you can check that out right now.
Awesome. All right, we've covered a lot of ground today. Let's bring it all back home. What's the big takeaway from all this?
So the key point is that NVIDIA has created this new family of AI models that are specifically designed to be much better at reasoning. And they've made some big improvements in accuracy and speed.
And why should our listeners care about this? What's the big picture here?
Because this means we're going to see smarter, more helpful AI tools in our lives, both at work and maybe even at home. And they'll be able to handle more complex tasks, make better decisions.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a final thought for you to consider. How might this reshape the way businesses operate in the next few years? What kind of tasks could be automated or augmented by these new capabilities in ways we can't even imagine yet? It's worth thinking about how this might impact your own field of work and your own interests.
And if you're interested in exploring the technical details, check out the NVIDIA developer program, build.nvidia.com, Hugging Face, GitHub. All those resources are out there waiting for you.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.